So this is session 4, and we are going to take a look. We are going to look at some of the examples before I proceed with the presentation and explain these programs. So I'm working in this directory root Python session 4, and I have these programs math 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 9 programs available. We'll see the first program, math 1. What is there in math 1? This takes some values: a equals 21, b equals 10, c equals 0, and c equals a plus b. Print line 1, value of c is c. So what do you think, what will be the c? Value of c will be 31. Quite simple, because c is a plus b. Then c is a minus b. I'm trying to explain the mathematical operators with example. A minus b. So you can expect 21 minus 10. Then a multiplied by b, a divided by b, a divided by b, but give me the remainder. So this line 4 will print the remainder, which is 10 divided by 21 divided by 10. So remainder will be what? So 1 will be final remainder, so it will display 1. Now we are changing the value: a equals 2, b equals 3, c equals a star star b, which is actually raised to the power. So 2 raised to the power, it should display 6. This is another example: a equals 10, b equals 5, a floor division. That means ignore the fractional part, only give me the whole number. So you can expect value 2 here. So if I run this program, Python 3 main math1.py, this is the output you can expect, and precisely this is what I discussed. Alright. So this is similarly, if you look at the second example, cat math 2. In this example we see what we have: a 21, b 10, c is 0. We are checking comparative equality and relational operators. Equal means, is it equal to b? So you will see this line not equal to b, because a is actually not equal to b. Similarly, a not equal to b, yes, you will see b is not equal to a is not equal to b. So this is equality not equal to b. Then this is another: a less than b, greater than b, and then a equal to 5, b equal to 20. We are comparing, is it less than equal to, is it greater than equal to. And if I try this example, you will see the output as we expect. A is not equal to b. In line 2, a is not equal to b, and so these all relational operators work as expected: greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, right? Let's try the example number 3, math 3. This example is: a is 21, b is 10, c is 0, c equals to a plus b. So this is the operator which I discussed, the c plus equal, is the same as c is equal to c plus a. So that means c will be equal to c plus a, that means 21. So you'll get the output here. This line will be printed, that is 21, and here value of c by default, it is c equals to a plus b. 21 plus 10, 31, and c equal to c plus a, that means 31 plus 21. So that what you can expect a slightly different answer here. You can see here, first is 31 plus 21, 52, and that's the way you get this 52 answer here. Similarly, divide c multiply equal to a, which means c is equal to c multiplied by a. So this will give you c equal to c multiplied by a, which is nothing but 52 multiplied by 21. That comes out to be 1092. Similarly, c percent equal to a, that means c is equal to c percent a, and we want to see only the remainder. So you will get this line number 5, which is remainder is 2. Then you see multiplied by a, c equals c multiply, not multiply, raised to the power. c is equal to c raised to the power a, which essentially means whatever the value of c is, that raised to the power 21. So this is the huge answer. So actually these are different operators. Examples are discussed, demonstrated in this example, and let's look at example number 4. Example number 4, a equals 60, b equals 13, c equals to 0, and this is ampersand, that is bitwise AND. To make you understand, 60 in binary is equal to this, and 13 in binary equal to this. When I say AND, which means you have to go bit by bit. 0 and 0 should be 0, 0 and 0 should be 0, 1 and 0 should be 0, because only 1 and 1, true and true, will be true. It's something like saying that today is very cold and the temperature is 52 degrees centigrade, which is impossible. Two statements cannot be simultaneously true. So first statement is true, second is true, then only the result will be true. So that is the how ampersand operator or bitwise AND works. So this is true, only then answer will be true. If one of them is false, answer will be false. Treat 0 as false. So if you convert this into binary, that comes out to be 12. So you can expect answer 12 here. So let's try to execute and see how it represent. And yes, the answer is 12 here. Similarly, bitwise OR means true or false will be true, false or true will be true, true or true will be true. Both are false, then answer will be false. So if you compare this, 0 or 0 will be 0, 0 or 0 will be 0, 1 or 0 will be 1. So this will be the answer. If you convert this into binary, it will be 61. So this is OR, bitwise OR. So these are bitwise. This is left shift, this is right shift. So that is shifting 2 digits on the right hand side, shifting A to the right hand side on 2 digits. Like if I add 2 0 here, this 2 0 will go out, number of digits will remain the same, but we are adding 2 0 from here. So it will be 4 0 4 4 times 1, and that will be the answer. When you convert it into binary, what it will be? This is left shift, shifting 2 digits, 2 bits on the left hand side. So the value, if you shift, what will happen? These zeros will go, two zeros will be added and these zeros will go, 2 zeros will go. So it will become 1111 0000. If you convert it into binary decimal, it will be 240. So this is left shift, right shift, and negation. So basically all these are binary operators, bitwise operator, we call them as bitwise operators. Similarly, if we try another example 5, a equals to 10, b equals to 20, and we have a list of element 1 2 5 1 2 3 4 5. Is a in the list? And this is the in operator, that is membership operator. Is a in the list? Absolutely no. So you will get the answer a is not available in the list. So this will be the output. Let's try. And you said a is not available in the given list. If I try b is 20. Is b in the list? No, b is not in the list, and definitely you will get the same. But if I change the value of a to make it 2, in that case, is 2 there in the list? Yes. So you will get this answer, and b is there. Line number 3, a is available in the given list, a is available in the given list, right? So this is how the membership operators work. So these are operators which we discussed in the previous session. This will give you, these examples will give you all those programs which we discussed yesterday, the operators which we discussed yesterday, mathematical operators. And this is identity. Object A equal to 20, object B is equal to 20. Are they refer to the same memory area? Because in Python there is nothing called variable, to be honest. It is actually the object, and if you have same value, they point to the same memory area. Python will not allocate a new memory if you don't have a different value. If they have same, they will have the same identity. A very intelligent approach from Python. So if you say A is B, you will get the answer 100%. Yes, A and B have the same identity, otherwise you will get this answer, and in my opinion you will get this answer. They have same identity. Let me try to run it, and you see A and B have the same identity. You got the same output. So this was not executed. Similarly, ID of A, ID of B, they have the same identity. Yes, you will get, in this case also you will get the same ID, because ID function give the identity. You are actually finding the identity of variable A, and then you are comparing it, is it same as the identity of B, and that's why you are getting answer 2. They have the same identity, this one. But now we are changing the value. We are initializing the object B with a different value, that is 30. And if I try the same thing, is A is B, now you will get answer no, they are not same, they do not have same identity, and you have this answer. So these are good examples to make the concept which we discussed. So this is actually, you can say that is in continuation of the last lecture, examples of the topics covered which in the last session. And these are expressions. A equals to A plus B. E is equal to A plus B multiplied by C divided by E. That is 30 multiplied by 15 divided by 5, and it will give you that answer. Similarly, value of A plus B. So you will get this expression as it is. I am printing that so that I display it, and it will print the value of A. So let's try this 7 also. So A plus B multiplied by C divided by D is 90. You can check that value. So these are expressions, normal expressions, mathematical expressions. We understand, we love these expressions, pure mathematics, and this is how mathematics works in Python. Let's try the example number 8. This example is very interesting library. This is using, for the first time it is using the math library, and this expression is actually calculating quadratic equations. Have you heard of quadratic equation in mathematics? Quadratic equation, roots of an equation, b square minus 4ac square root divided by, yeah, you remember that? This is same thing. We are taking the value of coefficients of A, B and C. We want the user to enter the coefficient of A, B and C. That's how we ask the value from the user. Evaluate input, please enter the coefficients of A, B and C. So the three values need to be entered separated by comma. When you enter three values separated by comma, it will calculate the discrete root. That is, first it will calculate b square minus 4ac. You see, b square minus 4ac. B multiplied by B minus 4 multiplied by C, right? It is b square minus 4ac. Now the root 1 will be minus B divided by the value of this b square minus 4ac divided by plus and then minus 2 multiplied by A. Similarly, minus B minus this value of this divided by 2 multiplied by A, and then solutions will be displayed here. Let's try. And now see, this is example of the functions we discussed, and this is example of modules we discussed yesterday. We are importing mathematics library. We are using the function this square root function from this library, math.sqrt. That's how we use. This is the concept I discussed. This is example first time I am discussing that how to use a function from a library, from a module. And now I am calling the main program, and main program is nothing, it is just calling that function main. We are calling it. So if I execute this 8, it will expect three values from me. If I type 1, 2, 3, just think of it. B square minus 4ac will be what? 2 to the 4. 4 minus 3 into 1, that is 3 multiplied by 4, 12. So 4 minus 12 will be negative value. So can we calculate the square root of a negative value? No. Therefore it will have imaginary roots, and hence it will fail, and you will get this answer, domain value error, math domain error. Got the point? And if you do some meaningful value, let's try another set of values. If I enter b square minus 4ac so that I can calculate the value, I'm entering the value of a as 2, comma b as let's say 7. 7 7 ja 49 minus let's say 2 4 ja 8 3 ja 16, 8 3 ja 24. So I enter these values. At least I know b is 49 minus 6 multiplied by 4, 24. So that is a positive value. At least I'll have some square positive value, which will be a positive real root I will get. Correct? Hence I'll get meaningful roots here. First will be minus 5.5 and second will be 3. So you will get this is working the way you expect a quadratic equation solutions to work. So it will give you a solution. So this is a simple program using a maths library, square root function of maths library. Let's try another example. 9. What this example is? It's calculating the factorial of a number. So it is using n value, enter the value of a whole number, and factorial is equal to 1.0, and 4 factor in range. Here I would like to show you, I'll explain this loop actually, though I have not discussed this loop in detail, but for the time being, for the sake of simplicity, take it as for value, for variable in this range starting from n to 1, every time decreasing the value to minus 1. We are calculating factorial is equal to factorial multiplied by factor, because factor is starting from like whatever you entered, 20, so it will start with 20. 20 multiplied by 1, first value will be 20. So this is a loop actually, repetition. So let's try to calculate factorial of some values, and we'll see some meaningful stuff here. I enter the value 6. So factorial of 6 is 720. It is actually 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1. All the numbers from 1 to that number, if you multiply, that's called factorial. You know this mathematics part, right? So if I try the same number with let's say 100, so it's giving me exponential form. Why this is giving me exponential form? Can I change it? Yes, I can change it, and it will give me the whole number. I can do that. Instead of this initializing it to 0, 1.0, that is float number, I initialize it as a number, integer, and you will see the magic of this integer and float. That magic will be visible here. I am typing the same value 100. What a small number. Can you read it? This is a factorial of 100. 100 multiplied by 99 multiplied by 98 up to 1. This is quite a big number. So Python can handle these numbers of these size. But problem is when you take float, it gives you approximation. Because if you take this, you will get up to here only, and all 10 raised to power 157. Means all this fraction, this actual part is lost. So it shows only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 digits of precision up to this 1, 8. It will show up to here only. Rest all are approximation. So floats are not exactness. Whenever it comes to exactness, try to use integers. After these hands-on examples, let's start the lecture. So this is session 4, Maths in Python. Objective is we'll understand the data types, to be able to use Python math library, understand accumulator program pattern, and to be able to read and write program that process numerical data. This was the example I explained. The same examples I showed the output also. Math 1. This is Math 2 example. We discussed this example. I demonstrated this example. This is example number 3. We discussed this example. We executed this program. This is example number 4. Bitwise operator. I showed you this output. This is membership operators. Element is there in the list or not. Not in. We discussed this, in and not in. Then identity. Do they have the same identity? Are they stored at the same memory location? Are they different, or they actually they are same elements? So in Python we have the objects concept, and they share memory. If they have same values, they share the same memory location, and that's you can identify that. You can check with identity operators. This is operator precedence, that is which one will be solved first. The formula of mathematics, pure mathematics, where we'll talk about which one will be solved, in what order the elements are processed. Now the numeric data type. There are two types of numbers in Python. Like if we say 5, 4, 3 and 6, these are all whole numbers. They don't have a fractional part. Like counters. When you are taking counters, you can count in fractions. You count simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting. They don't have fractions. Second is decimal numbers. They have decimal part. 0.25, 0.10, 0.05, 0.01. They are decimal fractions. But the computer treat whole numbers and decimal numbers quite differently. They are not treated the same way. They are treated in a different way. And that you have seen, when I changed value from 1.0 to 1, the answers were different, because they are treated in a different way. We say that decimal fractions and the whole numbers are two different data types for computer. We use the term data types. The data type of an object determines what value it can have and what operations it can be performed on it. The whole numbers are represented using integer. Short form is int, data type. These values can be positive or negative whole numbers, -3, +27. This is example of numerical data type. You can directly start at the Python prompt also. I started Python prompt, type of 3. So what do you expect? Integer. Type of 3.1 is what? Float. Type of 3.0 is float. You assign a value to a variable. My integer is equal to 32. Type of my integer is what? Integer. So you can check these type in runtime directly by starting Python. How can we tell which one is which? So for that we have this type. Numerical literals without a decimal point produce an integer value. A literal that has a decimal point is represented by a float, even if the fractional part is 0. Python has a special function to tell us the data type of any value, which is type. So this is a special function which I have used here to understand the data type of different values. Numerical data types. Why do we need two number types? I mean float and integer. Why do we need? Can we survive with one? Answer is no, we need two. Value that represent counts can't be fractional, so we can't take that decimal everywhere. We have to take whole numbers. Most mathematical algorithms are very efficient with integers. However, the float type stores only the approximation to the number being represented. You have seen that in action. When I was calculating the factorial, when I took the float, when I initialized the value 1.0, the value was approximate value. Since floats are not exact, we can use integer when we should use integer wherever possible. So this is a simple operations in integers. So operations on integer will produce integers. Operations on float will produce float. Except for division. Integer division produces the whole number. That is called integer division or floor division, right? 10 divided by 3. So you'll get only the whole number. And we can do it directly at the prompt. 3.0 plus 4.0, you will get 7.0. 3 plus 4, you will get 7. 3.0 multiplied by 4.0, so you will get float. When you specify float, it will give you float. When you specify integer, it will give you integer. When you nothing, you specify after you specify the decimal part, like 0.0, 4.0. That's it. That's the only difference here. No, you don't have to declare. These are direct values we are printing. We are calculating. 10 divided by 3. I am working at directly Python prompt. Interactive way. So 10.0 divided by 3.0. And in case of division, as I said, except for division. In case of division, whether you take float or integer, the answer will be same. So this is a minimum function, like minimum of you type specify the values. You can type whole numbers or fractional numbers. Dutifully it will give you the actual value, which is minimum of all the possible values, that is 4.9, or maximum of whatever values you specify, it will duty bound to give you 7.1. These are some commonly available function, minimum, maximum, pure mathematics, you can do that. And the program I gave you is Math 7, which give you some mathematics also. And this is your Math 7 program, which gives you operators. This is the math library I was talking about, the last program I discussed. Beside plus, minus, multiply, divide and all these, we have a lot of other math functions available in math library. So therefore we must use math library. A library is what? It is a module. They are interchangeable term. As we noticed, yesterday I was talking about module, but today I am using the term library. So by definition, library is a module with some useful definitions or functions. We have just understood the definition. We will be creating and meaningful libraries for our purpose. That's the real meaningful job we'll be doing in our training. We have a long way to go. Let's write a program to compute the roots of a quadratic equation, which is x is equal to minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac divided by 2a. The only part of this we don't know is how to find the square root. But the maths library will help you for this. So how do we use maths library? To use a math library, we need to import it. Import math. To access the square root function given in the library, we need to access it as math.sqrt, and you pass the variable or value what you want to. The dot notation tells Python to use the square root function found in the math library module. So to calculate the root, you can use like discrete root is equal to maths dot square root b multiplied by b minus b square, b multiplied by 4 multiplied by a multiplied by c, that is 4ac. And this is the program number 8 I demonstrated. Import math. This program finds the real solutions of a quadratic equation. Why this print? Nothing, it is printing a blank line here. This is a blank line. A, B, C, enter the value. So enter the value. We enter 3 value, 3, 4, minus 1. Then we are calculating the DESC root, that is the root, square root, math dot square root, b square minus 4ac. And then root 1 minus b plus discrete root divided by 2a, and root 2 will be minus b minus discrete root divided by 2a, and therefore you will get this output. One is positive root, another is negative root. This is another value, another example, trying with 2, 8 and 3. and this will display the solutions. And remember, we are using math, the function in our day-to-day life. I'm writing a function first and I'm calling it here. I could have written it without function, but then making a habit of writing function will make your life easy in future. When you try the same with 1, 2 and 3, you know the answer now, because this is giving you negative value of this, b square minus 4ac. So how can we calculate the square root of a negative value? A is 1, b is 2, c is 3. So then we are trying to take the square root of a negative number, which is impossible. Using square root function is more efficient than using double star. How could you use double star to calculate a square root? We can't use that. Factorial example. You need to understand factorial first. N factorial is equal to n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2, and continue doing so till you reach 1. For example, yeah, you have done it? That's what. So 6 factorial is 6 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4, 3, 2, 1. That gives you this. Question is how to write a program to do it. How could you write a program to do this? Input the number to take factorial of a number, let's say n. Compute factorial of n, that is fact, and display the fact. But how? This is the $1 million question. How? We need some repeated multiplications, keeping track of running product. This algorithm is known as accumulator. Like I'll start with n is equal to 6. I'll say first I'll initialize FACT with 1, and then I'll say FACT equal to n multiplied by FACT. So that comes out to be 6 multiplied by 1, that gives me 6, right? So we'll have 6 value here. Then I'll decrease the value of n, it will become 5. So FACT equals to 5 multiplied by FACT. So earlier the FACT was 6. So 5 multiplied by 6. So FACT becomes 30. And the value of 5 is decreased, that is 4. Now FACT is equal to 4 multiplied by FACT, which was 30. That is 4 into 30, that makes it 120. So FACT is now 120. This is further reduced to 3. So what we are doing is we are decreasing this value n 1 by 1, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 till we reach 1, and then we are every time we are multiplying the value with the current value of FACT, we are starting with 1, and then finally we reach to 720. This is called accumulator, because we are building up or accumulating the answers in a variable known as accumulator variable. So how do we write? Again, the question is this only. You can do it at command line also. You can write a function FACT equal to 1. For factor in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you write all the values. FACT equals FACT multiplied by factor. Factor is the value 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, or counter you can say. Then to come out of this loop, you have to press enter key once more. This is actually nothing but an enter key pressed here. It will take you out, and then print FACT, it will give you 720. But problem is this is 6. What if I have to calculate factorial of 20, factorial of 30, factorial of 90? I mean, I want to write a program for this. General form of accumulator algorithm will be initialize the accumulator variable, loop until the final result is reached, update the value of accumulator variable. And this is what we have used. FACT equals 1. For factor in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fact is equal to fact multiplied by factor, and which has given me the answer. Why do we need to initialize this to 1? By doing initialization, you know that FACT will have the value the first time when you start. If you use the FACT without assigning a value, what does Python do? It's worth trying. Since multiplication is associative and cumulative, so you can start from 2 also. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is the same thing. What if we want to find a factorial of some other number? What does the range n return? Range n will give you value 0 to n minus 1. But we can't start with 0 because we can't take 0. We can't multiply by 0. 0 is not possible for us. So range has another special parameter for that. That is starting value. So start and n. That will return start value, start plus 1, start plus 2 up to n minus 1. But we want to reach to n. So this is also, this will not solve our purpose. This is not solve our purpose. So which one will solve our purpose? We have more option here. Start and step. This will solve our purpose. Start will give the value, start plus step, and we reach to where we want to reach. List sequence also to make a list. Look at this basic example. List range 10. It will make value from 0 to 9. Total 10 possible values. List range 5 to 10. So it start 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. List range 5 to 10 with a step of 2. So it will make 5, 7, 9. Very good simple day-to-day functions. You need to build mastery on them by practicing them as much as you can with more examples. Don't just follow what is given, but try to use your own examples as well. And this is a factorial example. Math 9 function. Evaluate, take the value from the user, factor is equal to 1. For factor range n to 1, keep on decreasing it. So start, last value and the step. So we are starting from n, reaching to 1, every time we are decreasing to 1, minus 1, and it will calculate the factorial. Print factorial of n is the value of fact, and this is the reply. Factorial of 6, 720, factorial of 100, you know the answer. While there are infinite numbers of integers, there is a finite range of integers that can be represented. We need to understand this part. This range depends on number of bits a particular CPU uses to represent the integer value. Typical PC use 32 bits. They use 64-bit processor now. Now we have 64-bit processors. 32-bit PCs were available until 5 years back. But now every system we use 64-bit. That means you will have in today's scenario 2 raised to power 64 possible values. With 32-bit CPU, values were starting from 0 to 2 raised to power 32 minus 1. This range is then minus 2 raised to power 31 to 2 raised to power 31 minus 1. Why that one value is reduced here? Why one value? Where is this one value gone? That one value is for sign, because we need to use the sign also. 0 for plus, 1 for minus. So 1 bit is reserved for sign, rest 31 bits for data. We need to subtract 1 from the top to account for 0 also. This 1 is subtracted because we need to count value 0. Like if I say 0 to 5, that will give me total 6 possible values. But in minus we can't subtract. Minus 1, minus 2. We don't start minus 1 with 0. So 0 is counted only once. Who invented 0, by the way?
This guy, I forgot his name.
From which country he was?
I think it was like Switzerland, something like that.
Come on, please. 0 was invented by Indian Aryabhatta.
Really?
Yes. Come on, search Google. We have given, 100%, 200%. 0 was given by Indian. But our 100 is much larger than this number. How does it work? That I like when I change the value to float in that program, that gave me approximate value. You saw that value while executing the program. If we initialize the accumulator to 1.0, we get this value. We no longer get an exact answer. So therefore, when you are looking for exactness, you got to use integers. Handling large numbers, we have long integer also. So this was a typical example of approximation. Here the decimal need to be moved 12 decimal places to get the original number, but there are only 9 digits, so 3-digit precision have been lost. Handling large numbers. Please note, floats are approximations. Floats allow us to represent a large number of values, but with lower precision, exactness. Python has exception. Python has a solution for it, and that is expanding integers or ints. Python ints are not a fixed size and expand to handle whatever value it holds. Python automatically convert your integers or ints to expanded form when they grow so large as to overflow. To whatever extent Python try to handle that number. We get indefinitely large values. For example, this factorial of 100 at the cost of speed and memory. But if you have fast processor, we'll get really big numbers. We know that combining an integer with an integer produces an integer, and combining a float with a float produces a float. What happens when you mix float, integer and float in an expression like x equal to 5.0 plus 2? That is interesting question. What do you think should happen? For Python to evaluate this expression, it must either convert 5.0 to 5 and do the integer addition, or convert 2 to 2.0 and do floating point addition. What exactly happened? You know that converting a float to an integer will lose information. So integer can be converted to floats by adding 0.0. In a mixed type expression, Python will convert integer to floats. Sometimes we want to control the type conversion. This is called explicit typing. For example, float 22 divided by 5, floor division. So it will give you 4.0. Integer of 4.5 will give you 4. In C language we call it as casting, type casting. In Python we call it as explicit typing. Round 3.9 it will give you 4. Round 3 will give you 3. Yep. Okay. That's all for this session. I'm sure you got some clarity on maths in Python, how it is working. Thank you.